Ladies and gentlemen, a federal judge has just defended or upheld every indictment, or at least every, quote, factual background for every future indictment within the Durham Probe Special Counsel. Every time the Durham Probe Special Counsel from here on out says, yeah, these people tried to set up and frame Trump. These people were paid by either the Clinton campaign or worked alongside someone who was paid by the Democratic Party or Madam Secretary. That information is pertinent to the indictment, okay? If you have the Washington Post, the New York Times, CNN, and MSNBC, when they read the Sussman indictment, they're going to ask, well, did John Durham actually say that Trump was under surveillance? He didn't say that Trump was under surveillance. What he said was an attorney was paid to obtain information on Trump, a healthcare provider, his apartment, the executive office of the president, other locations, and use that information to then paint a narrative to please certain VIPs, people who were writing the checks, and utilize that narrative, spread that fantasy that Trump was installed by the Kremlin to government officials in order for them to begin investigations of Trump. So no, Durham does not say that Trump was spied on. What he says was, in a long factual background in the Sussman indictment, that an attorney was paid by Clinton. That attorney was also paid by a tech executive. The tech executive, the attorney, and a whole bunch of cyber and technology researchers obtained a whole lot of data on Trump, who he communicated with, cyber data, internet traffic, all of that information, and then gave that information to the FBI, to the Central Intelligence Agency, in order to begin investigations of an incoming president. That's the same thing, by the way, as saying, yes, he was under surveillance by his direct political rival. Unless you get that sentence, the Washington Post, the New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, they're not going to admit that the Democrats or Clinton did anything wrong at all. It was all above board. They had every right, according to Democrats, to obtain all this information, weave a distorted narrative, and utilize this fantasy, this distorted story in order to get government officials to investigate a direct political rival. They would never allow the same things to take place against Clinton or mashed potato brains Biden or anyone else. They would never allow Rudy Giuliani to work alongside a tech executive and gather up information on Hunter or the president, Biden or Clinton or Kerry or anyone else. They would never ever allow that in a million years. Hit subscribe to this channel right now, ladies and gentlemen. We're almost at 194,000 subscribers, and it's because I've been reading from the actual Durham Probe indictment. It's pretty amazing. A judge just upheld John Durham's factual basis that Sussman, the indicted attorney, requested be struck down from the court record. What Michael Sussman and his defense team were saying is, well, you know what? It doesn't matter if we were paid by Clinton, who worked with tech people to obtain information on Trump and weave a narrative to appease or to make certain VIPs happy, and use that narrative to then initiate investigations through government with the help of government officials, or to convince government officials that they should investigate Trump. What Sussman's team was saying, and hit subscribe at the Stock Market Crash channel below in the pinned comment. Read my article in the Federalist predicting everything we're seeing now in the stock market, and I predicted the stock market crash we're seeing in slow motion. We're going to have, unfortunately, a devastating stock market crash. The Dow Jones will eventually descend to 20,000, unfortunately. And I see Bitcoin at around 10,000, unfortunately. And I respect people who invest in cryptocurrencies. Read my article in the Federalist, and I explain everything. And that's below in the pinned comment. If you want to support my work, to my new Patreons, thank you. My Patreon is below. If you enjoy my work, ladies and gentlemen, especially in this very bizarre time in American history, your Patreon support is very important. I will start back the live streams eventually. But share this segment. The best thing you could do is subscribe, share this segment, and tell your friends. Word of mouth is the best thing. If you know somebody who might enjoy H.A. Goodman on YouTube or the stock market crash on YouTube, if you know somebody, a neighbor, a friend, a family member, who has the same political opinions or viewpoints on life, or who just wants to know more about the Durham probe and other issues pertaining to the Durham probe, tell them about this channel. Now, you even have William Barr, and I'll do a segment on this. William Barr believes Durham will get to the bottom of Trump-Russia investigation origin. Now, you have William Barr, you have other people who, well, John Radcliffe, for example, Richard Grinnell, they know. Devin Nunes, Kash Patel, these people know exactly what took place. Carter Page, who is suing James Comey and a whole bunch of other people. They know what took place. The interesting thing about the judge upholding the Durham probe's factual background. Okay, so the indictment is Michael Sussman lying to James Baker, the legal counsel at the FBI, about his motivation. Okay, he lied. He did not explain that he did not state that he was being paid. In fact, he just lied about it and said, well, I wasn't being paid when he was being paid, or conveyed the viewpoint of the sentiment that he just was an honest citizen trying to protect national security. Okay, he was being paid by Clinton. That's Trump's direct political rival. Remember when they always said, Trump, he wanted to investigate his direct political rival. Remember they impeached him, and President Zelensky himself, like Kinzinger today, said, "Oh, I should have voted to impeach Trump." There is no direct evidence that there is no, even 538 others have admitted there's no direct evidence that Trump withheld military assistance so that Ukraine investigate Biden. Which, by the way, his son was on the board of directors, and Biden forced out a prosecutor in a sovereign country that's now being invaded under his watch. So, if it's a sovereign nation, why did he force out a prosecutor? And why did he literally withhold $1 billion until the prosecutor was out? And simply saying he wasn't doing his job, that's not there are people around the world who thought Mueller was corrupt. Do you think that we would force out Robert Mueller because a person in another country, a top leader in another country said, "Oh yeah, Mueller should be kicked out of his own special counsel"? No. So why did the Vice President of the United States of America kick out a prosecutor and withhold $1 billion? And then they impeached Trump for withholding lethal aid, which President Obama didn't give, but President Zelensky himself stated that never happened. The president now, who, by the way, I support Ukraine, I support President Zelensky. I think it's terrible what Putin is doing, but of course, the U.S. and NATO have a huge responsibility or role in all of this. Could have been prevented. All of this could have been prevented. Now the peace deal or negotiated settlement or deal eventually that takes place after so many lives and so much destruction could have been obtained prior to all of this. But see, there's a president we have, mashed potato brains, that needs to blame something for gasoline prices, oil prices, inflation. They're blaming inflation was at record highs even before all of this, so were gas prices. They were going up. So, anyway, but you have the worst fears of Trump's administration being realized right now. You have the worst fears of Trump's administration pertaining to Moscow being realized right now. And by the way, God bless Ukrainian Americans, God bless Russian Americans, God bless Russian American students or Russian students, Ukrainian students, Mexican students, anybody here studying. You shouldn't feel, if you are of an ethnicity or nationality or national origin, I mean, this is something that they went after Trump for, and Trump said one thing, a very crude remark, before he became president, and it wasn't as specific at all as all the vitriol and nastiness and xenophobia of the Democrats. Damn morally superior among us. Oh my God. They're really the morally inferior. It's unbelievable. And if you are a person of Russian origin in the United States of America, God bless you. You have nothing to do. You have nothing to do with what's taking place anywhere in the world. And if Democrats and media make you feel that, that's because you have despicable people who paint themselves as morally superior in our country. So God bless you. God bless the Ukrainians. I mean, doing everything to protect their country. It is a terrible, terrible situation, but you shouldn't blame innocent individuals like Democrats are doing. They want to just sanction and ban and sanction and sanction, ban. It makes them feel good. Peace deal? Nah. Negotiated settlement? Nah. Oh, then that would mean that they wouldn't join the alliance. They weren't going to. Okay, that's a Cold War relic that wouldn't let them in, and Biden wouldn't let them in. But anyway, that's a whole other story. God bless you. God bless everybody who's innocent. And if you have nothing to do with, I mean, it's like, I don't even want to get into it. The whole point is they're doing the same thing they did with you know what. Now they're doing this. They obsess, they consume themselves because they don't have. The reality is, ladies and gentlemen, that morally superior, wonderful liberal Democrats, most of them have done away with the concept, done away with religion, God, theology. Most of them have, and that's fine. If you want to be the most amazing, intelligent people I know in my life, the most amazing, intelligent is agnostic. They're agnostic. And Christopher Hitchens was a huge inspiration to me. But if you want to do away with God, I believe in God, okay? But if you want to do away with it, don't replace God and religion with politics. Because if you do that, you're worshiping John Brennan, Clapper, CNN, MSNBC. You're disowning friends like complete imbeciles. Who, by the way, I don't even want to get into it. I don't even want to get into it. I know people who are like, I can't believe you think this way. And then I debate them, and it's like, oh my God, they can't, there's no rebuttal there. Because they don't know as much about politics, geopolitics. But this is like a long time ago. I don't debate anybody now. I suggest you don't debate anybody now. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. The factual background is upheld. The judge upheld the factual background, the Sussman indictment. You have people who tried to plunge the country, and they were very successful, into this tribalism. We're seeing it right now. There are people who truly believe the biggest lies ever told in American politics pertain to Trump. And Trump never prevented you from saying anything. He never told you what to do with your life. He doesn't really care what you think. And you have the people who are now claiming to be against authoritarians who want to silence, suppress, and blame innocent people for the actions of a country that they don't even live in. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Thank you. But every future indictment is now backed up by what the judge just upheld, because every future indictment will have a background that pertains directly to the factual background in the Sussman indictment. Thank you. Oh, be here in about 2 hours or so. Watch this channel about